Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about one of the things that really turns people off when they decide to make a change in their life. And for most people, it is to lose weight, or at least to feel more confident, to fit back in their jeans. Whatever you're identifying with, one of the barriers to that is kind of the overwhelm or the overcomplication that we try to apply to it. And so for a lot of people, they have this big goal of losing 15, 20, 30 pounds, whatever it may be, but at the same time, they're kind of overwhelmed with all the things that they need to do in order for it to happen. And so what's going to happen is that the plan they create for themselves is going to sound good on paper, but when it comes to actually following through on it, and life kind of gets in the way, and things don't always go to plan, sometimes it kind of falls apart. And then once it starts to crumble, things aren't really going as consistently as you would like to. You start to feel a little bit discouraged. You start to feel frustrated. You may even doubt your abilities in order to pull it off. And so while having that big goal is in mind, having that big goal in mind is really important. It's also important that you think big but act small at the same time. And what I mean by that is actually do small steps on a daily basis that you feel confident in, that you have the clarity about what to do, and that you feel you can be consistent about. And so for most people, just starting off on this diet plan is great. Kudos to that. But at the same time, are you doing too much? Are you doing too much to actually support the life that you're living? Because many of us are very busy. Many of us have a lot of other obligations, whether it be kids, a second job, whatever that may be, outside of just working out and eating healthy. So you have to make sure that your plan that you create for yourself still allows you to prioritize those other things and still allows you to feel as if you're in control of your own journey. And that's something you can feel you can be consistent throughout. And so the idea behind thinking big and acting small is to actually make those choices on a daily basis that you feel you can carry out. And once you actually start creating that good foundation, and you have a routine and you have these rituals, then you can start adding more steps to the process of getting in shape. And so my clients, what I really try to focus on is how can you create daily habits that will have a long impact in the long run. And so for the first thing we really focus on is actually just create a plan in which you actually decide one day out of the week or a couple of days out of the week in which you actually cook at home and prepare meals ahead of time. And that's really important because so many people are so rushed that when they're tired and they come home after long days of work, what they don't want to do is cook. And if you don't want to cook, what typically is going to happen is that you're going to either have fast food or you're going to order out. And a lot of times that's not always the best option. So planning ahead for people really takes care of a lot of the bad food choices opportunities that people have. And on top of that as well, you can have really, really profound impacts in your diet by simply just avoiding processed food or avoiding snacking, because it's not so much that we take in too many calories per se, which actually is the ultimate reason, but we just make these food choices that have tons of calories in one meal. So a lot of times people focus on either having pizza or something else like that, in which you can have easily half of your calories consumed within a matter of one meal. So if you focus more on actually eating fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and things like that, you'll actually still have that same amount of satiety that you need, but at the same time you're also making those choices so that you feel full and you feel good about the diet that you're on. Okay, so breaking things down into less snacking, preparing ahead of time, focusing on one habit per week really allows you to slow down the whole process of weight loss, because so many people overcomplicate things when it really doesn't need to be so overcomplicated. And by making things a little bit simpler and by slowing it down for yourself, it allows you to feel more confident in your abilities to carry it out. I've worked with a lot of people who've tried so many different approaches when it comes to weight loss that they just jump from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. And that's because they really haven't addressed the core issue of what's going on. And so people really think it's a diet issue. Well, maybe that's part of it. It may be part of a diet issue, but really there's some underlying things such as your stress that are influencing you to make these decisions. So what I want you to focus on is where in my life am I kind of creating these barriers for myself, or where in my life are these barriers presented that are preventing me from making the right choices. And so the simplest way to do that is by doing a quick audit of what's going on and then actually just nailing off one little thing to the next thing to the next thing. And you realize that making these small adjustments, creating these small habits, creating these small changes in your routine allow you to make quite significant impacts in the way that you're currently eating and the way that you're kind of approaching this whole diet aspect. So food is part of the issue, but at the same time, there's other things that are kind of influencing the foods that you decide to eat and things you try to do. So long story short, take small incremental steps in your weight loss journey. Don't have this huge plan that's really hard to follow, that really allows you to overcomplicate things. Focus on small habits on a daily basis. In the end, we're going to have a pretty big return. All right, guys, thanks. Talk soon.